Welcome to the Think Share. My name's Zach, here to bring to what I've been thinking about, sharing about, talking about, listening. And while I'm stretching out a little bit, I would share a couple of my insights from the race. Just give me a second, and I'll let a couple people get on here. Oh boy! All right. Woo. Hey, Libby. Hey, Gemma. I'm just gonna put this here. I'm very proud that I was able to get this medal today. So the really exciting part about the whole thing, I honestly did not think that I was going to make it through all 13.1 miles without stopping at some point, but I did. Thank you, Gemma. So, by the way, for those that don't know, this is, I don't really know what they call it, just the stick, but these are little rolly things, and you roll it out over your muscles to help, I'm pretty sure it's to help relieve the lactic acid in your muscles. So, thank you. So yeah, last night I shared a little bit about one of the reasons why I was doing the half marathon. And the story that I shared with a bunch of participants today was pretty much this: is there as we were getting on a bus to get shipped over to the starting line from the parking lot, and I was saying to a bunch of them, yeah, it's my first half marathon, like never done one before. I think the longest I'd ever done in a row, which was also a lie, was eight miles. I think probably I had run 8 miles like twice in the past 2 months, but it wasn't all in a row. Like I stopped multiple times. So probably the longest I've ever done in a row is maybe 6 miles or so. I don't know. So as as I was talking with a bunch of the participants as we were about to start, something that kept coming up was like, well, why are you doing it? And the story that I was sharing with people was that I really wanted to knock off my bucket list. Last year for my birthday, I had said to Alyssa, instead of buying me stuff, I want to have some life experiences, and let's pay for those. And so we went to a Patriots game, and then we signed up to do this half marathon. And it's been sitting on my bucket list for quite some time. I think ever since my father-in-law told me that he ran a marathon, that had also been on my bucket list. I think it's still, I think I want to keep it on there. I don't know that I enjoyed the whole thing, but I think if I trained a bit more, I could absolutely see myself doing it. I think it was totally an internal battle, far more than it was like an actual painful like external battle. So one of the other really interesting things that I shared with a bunch of people along the way and during it. Thank you, Gemma. Hi, trending topic. Be right back. Sorry. Well done. So one of the interesting things that happened along the way. I'm gonna move the camera so I can stretch too. All right. So one of the interesting things that happened along the way was the fact that I realized at about maybe mile 5, that I wasn't actually feeling. Thank you. I wasn't actually in that like I wasn't in like super pain. I feel like the whole time I was sort of expecting to be in just like a load of pain. And about mile 5, my hips were really hurting. Thank you, Lena. My calves were cramping up a little bit, but mostly my hips were probably in the most pain. I was going a real slow pace. It was like 11-minute miles, so it's not like my breathing was like exasperated, but just my muscles like in my lower half were starting to feel it. My feet were hurting a little bit. I have really weird toes, so if you can notice, you don't really see that one right there. So the way that your toes are supposed to work is it's supposed to be out like that, but because my toes are just naturally kind of like that, and so the way, I hope this isn't grossing you all out, but if you look from the top, it's like sort of overlapping. So what happens is, because of that problem, is right there, I get huge blisters. You can see a little bit of there one. Sometimes I'll play basketball and I won't have the right footwear, and so I'll get that blister. So what I did was I actually had to tape up my toes to force that toe to touch the ground. Um, I've gone to the podiatrist before, and I got some inserts that helped me out. But as I was feeling all these pains around mile 5, I started realizing that they weren't getting worse. They were just persisting, and they're pretty painful. And so, mile 8 goes by, mile 9 goes by, and it's still like, they're not that much worse than they were a couple miles ago. It's just the same pain. If I can make it this far, I can make it another mile. And when I got to mile 11 or mile 10, I was like, well, it's still the same pain, not getting worse. I could go another mile of this pain. And it reminds me of, a lot of people are not a big fan of Lance Armstrong, but I think that he still has quite a bit of wisdom inside of him. He shared something on a Darren Hardy interview. Darren Hardy used to be the publisher of Success Magazine, and one of my favorite books of all time over here. Oh, I can't see it. Over here you can't see it, but it's called The Compound Effect. And he said that when he was in like his first Tour de France, going up against these two like world champions, and they're known as climbers because they're going up like a hill or a mountain. He said to himself, everyone's suffering right now. It's raining, it's crappy weather, it's like just no one wants to be cycling right now. And he said, I can suffer more than anyone else can. Like, I can do this. And so by kind of giving himself that mantra of I can suffer more than anyone else can, that kind of gave him the confidence to keep going and keep attacking instead of just kind of slowing down like everyone else was. So in racing, he launched like an attack. So that was kind of one of the things that wasn't quite a mantra, because I wasn't really battling anybody. I wasn't going up against anybody. I was just trying to finish. And I said to myself at the beginning of the race, all I really want to do is be able to finish without stopping. Like this lady had a t-shirt on that said 50 half marathons around the country. So she's going to run a half marathon in every single state. And I think the funny part about half marathons and, distance running is, if you walk, I feel like it's not running a half marathon. The moment that you start walking, like, I don't know, on a daily basis, I probably walk 13 miles, and I probably jog a little bit of it. Does that mean I've run? That means I've gone a half marathon. But when do you define it as running? Is it when it hits the majority? Is it when you do more than 90% of it is jogging? So I said to myself, I think the way I would define it is jogging the whole thing. Like marathon runners, like real serious runners, they don't stop, and they're going at a ridiculous pace the whole time of like 5-minute miles. So I said that's what I really want to do, is I want to be able to finish this and say that I never walked a single moment. Even with the at the water stations, I didn't stop. I just tried, I actually did spin moves. So I realized that when they're handing off like water in cups to me, if you go to grab it and you just kind of walk by, there's not much time. Think of it like if you have a basketball sliding across a surface, say it's like ice or something. The amount of time that part of the basketball can touch that, say there's a line over the ice, is very short. But if you roll the basketball, whatever that point is going to sort of stop on it, and then it'll stay there for a little bit longer. So it would give me a little bit longer time to do a handoff and not just throw it everywhere. But that was one of the things that actually helped me. That was one of the things that really helped me not stop, because everyone wants to slow down and stop and get water. And I was like, hell no, there's no way I'm going to stop right now. I'm in too much of a groove right now. Another really cool thing that happened along the way was a little after mile 8. So mile 8 wasn't that bad of a hill, but it was a solid hill. I could see where it would slow people down, but I knew it was coming, and it wasn't that. It took like maybe 3 minutes or something. Yes, it's 3.1. Thank you. Yeah, like the hill wasn't that bad, but right around there, as one of the pacers was like turning around to help her friend, like get back onto her feet and jog instead of walking. Um, this lady behind me, she was like kind of huffing and puffing. She's like, and I just turned around and I was like, "You got this! Like we're almost at the top. Like this is the last this is like the only / last crazy hill that we're gonna have to go through." And you know, a couple miles, like a mile or two later, we were still right next to each other. And we started talking to each other, and this lady was, I think she said she was 49 years old. Actually, I didn't get her contact information, but I got down her name. We ended up talking about this YouTube channel and stuff. She said she was gonna invite her children to look at it because they watch YouTubers and stuff. But the fact that I had somebody to sort of be persistent for the last 5 miles, so once you hit 8, you got 5.1 left to go. Once we hit that and we had each other saying like, I don't want to stop, like I want to finish this whole thing without walking once. I think when you have somebody there with you, pushing you along, that makes a huge difference. And it's somebody that's going through the same struggle that you're going through. And I said to her, you know, the other day I made this video about a metaphor with distance running to YouTube. And at some point she said to me, I think we had like a little bit less than a mile left. She's like, hey, you can go ahead of me. Like, it's fine. I was like, no, I'm staying with you. Like, we're going to finish this together. Keep in mind, I was total stranger as of 8 miles into this race. And I thought to myself, gee, another addition, I guess you could say, to this YouTube metaphor is when you get closer to a goal, you don't ditch your friends. You don't ditch the people that helped you get there. You stay strong with them. And even if that means, I don't know how this would quite fit into the metaphor, but you know, I probably could have gone a little bit faster, and I decided to stay with her pace because I wanted to cross it with her at the finish. I wanted to feel like a sort of a team effort at the very end there. So I guess it's not when you get famous enough that you don't have to rely on somebody or you don't have to work with somebody nearly as much to carry you through. You know, don't ditch them. Still work with them. Even if they're having a little bit of a hard time getting to where you're going, like stay with them. And I think that might even be a whole life lesson, not just YouTube, is when you find yourself getting further in life and you have people that helped you get to where you were. Like she had helped me get to where I was and vice versa. Don't ditch those people. You don't realize how beneficial they've been, I think, until the end. And we both agreed with each other is that like the very end of the race, like that would have been a very different race if we didn't have each other there for the last 5 miles. But yeah, I think the key insight, thank you. I think the real key insight here was if you can bear the suffering of the beginning, and the suffering's not getting worse, you can keep going and keep dealing with the same suffering. If, however, the suffering keeps getting worse, that's when it might be harder. And I think for people creating out there, for people that are building something, that are, you know, trying to get through something that's mentally taxing and it's challenging to do, if it's just the same pain and you know there is an end game to it, if you've gone through the beginning pains of it, you can get through the rest of the same pains through it. However, if the pain gets worse, then maybe you will have to take a break. Maybe you will have to stop. But I was lucky enough that my body didn't give out. It didn't really get any worse than it was probably looking back, it was probably like 4 miles in, I started having the same pains that I had by the end of the race. I wasn't going much faster. I kept the same pace pretty much the whole time. I finished the race with an 11-minute, 12-second pace, and I think I finished, I don't remember what my time was, but I finished 1,555th out of like, I think 2,000 people, so I was ahead of about 445 or so people. But if you I guess the other message I want to leave the three of you with, and those that watch the playback, um, when you have your birthday, when you have those opportunities where people are going to invest or give you something, I invite you to really take on instead of getting stuff, because it's easy every day to know and want stuff. Take that as an opportunity to do something out of the box. Ask for Patriots tickets. Ask for to sign up for a race that you've been putting off for years. Ask to go on a hot air balloon ride. Ask to go skydiving. I think people are much more. I think when we're buying stuff for somebody, it's really easy to, get them a $20, $30, $40 gift. If it's someone closer to, maybe closer to $100. But I think people are much more willing to pay a little bit more to see you do something awesome and be able to, like, if I had said for my birthday, like, I just want to pay for a personal trainer to teach me to backflip. I think it would be awesome to, if you did had a bunch of people put money into a fund for that, that would be awesome. Well, it's a great message. It's like getting in the bathtub when it's really hot, but sticking it through without getting out and just used to it. That's great. I don't remember the last time I've taken a bath, but I can totally get the same thing there. Glad you're reaching your goals. Thank you, Abstract Possibilities. Yes, oh yeah, we got to do an interview, dude. What was the other thing I was going to say? There's another thing that just came to me. Setting goals, knocking things off bucket lists, persisting through pain. Thank you, Crazy Challenge Channel. What the hell? Oh, this is the other thing. So one of the things that was also very, very apparent throughout the whole thing was how much the cheering of others was. So I think as long as we have some cheerleaders in our lives for whatever it is that we're working on, or as long as we have people cheering us on, it's really easy to put mind over matter. There were quite a few moments when I was really reminded how much of a difference it made to just have people there cheering, or having someone around you to have that experience with you. There are so many moments when we could have easily just started walking, and it would have been fine to do it, and it was like our own, me and this lady Kim, it was like our own personal prerogative to keep going. And I think if you see someone that's struggling, and so my wife, she saw me once along the way, I think around mile 4, and then she saw me at the very end, and she said she was really enjoying and appreciating the moments where people would jog by and just have these miserable looks on their faces. And a partner in believing, that sounds like an appropriate name for it. There would be these moments when she would be so glad that she could help put a smile on someone's face as they were jogging by, just with and I saw tons of people like that as well. But I probably had she said when I came by, she was almost a little bit disappointed because I just had a giant grin on my face. And part of it was because I got to see her. And hey, RJ, I'm just sharing my experience with the half marathon today. But as I jogged by her, I pecked her on the cheek and did my spin move and kept going. But that moment, I recognized that the next half mile I must have been going much faster than I was before. And I wasn't feeling any less pains. My body was still going through the same pains, but my mind was just so jacked up that I got to see Alyssa that it didn't matter. And so I really am such a believer that mind is so much more powerful than physical pains, and the physical nature of things. We can all accomplish things that we really don't think are possible, Just because if we can dream it, then it can be done, because we can come up with a plan for how it can be done. As much, I don't want to sound all Walt Disney and like rainbows and unicorns, but like there's just so many things that we're really capable of doing that we don't realize because we let, being realistic and being a realistic thinker and dreamer, we let that get in our way, because we have a lot of evidence to back up that it's not possible, or back up that it's not feasible or likely or realistic. Like one of my long-term goals is to be able to have I love it, Disney unicorns. I feel like, one of my goals that I talked about with Alyssa is I think that over time I will be able to do a better service for the world by being able to almost do YouTube full time and give these kind of talks, and be able to be like a speaker for places than I will as a math teacher. I think there's plenty of qualified math teachers that really love teaching math. I really like math. I have a hard time getting people on board with getting excited about and having fun with math. But I think sometimes that my purpose here on this planet is to help people see a bigger picture behind things, and try to teach this kind of mindfulness, share these kind of stories. Me to come to the UK. If you have a speaking gig that will cover, if you have somewhere where I could come speak and I could get paid enough that would cover the cost of airfare and cheap Airbnb, I'll do it. You would have to discuss what I'd be talking about, but I would surely, maybe in the future you can make the switch. Yeah, I really believe in the next maybe 5 years or so, when I've figured out how to get paid, how to have brand deals, how to do more collaborations with other channels. I've already done a TEDx talk, so I've figured out how to get my foot in the door to go speak somewhere when there's other speakers. I think the next step will be figuring out how to be a speaker where I'm the keynote speaker. I'm not good enough quite at it yet, but this right here, this daily live stream or daily video, like this is really great practice for it, I think. So I'd like to think that I can make a bigger difference in the world by reaching out to a couple people on a live stream than teaching math every day, and by leading by example through trying to reach my goals and share my mental struggles and how I get through them. You speak without scripting. This is true. Thank you, Gemma. But yeah, so that's pretty much all my story for today. Any questions while we're here? I want to do the same thing as well as a blind person. I've been told a blind person can't do this or that, and I've had to prove people wrong. Yeah, I'll be honest. Proving people wrong is probably one of the best feelings, I don't know, like ever. It just feels unbelievable. Now, no one said I couldn't do this half marathon, but there have been plenty of, I've had my fair share of haters on YouTube, and it's been a blast just like messing with them. Or the other day there was in PS, I'm now probably going off onto topics that were not in the title here. Thanks, Cher. What would you say to me about keeping motivated about YouTube? I would say promise yourself a daily habit, and just stick to it no matter what. Force yourself, staying motivated. Part of it is you want to think about what your end game is. I think for me, knowing that I want to eventually be able to match my income as a teacher with this, that gives me something to look forward to. If YouTube was just a hobby for me, it would be a little bit challenging, but also I want to see myself be able to speak and be able to I want to be able to bring myself bring positive messages every day, and impact people. So the way I can measure that is kind of, I don't really want to use this, but I feel like watch time is kind of apparent. Like right now there's 5 people on, and I think that if I'm delivering good things every day, people will keep coming back. schedule time is very important, and remember to be kind to yourself, not to burn out. Yeah. And I think the way that we burn out is when we don't necessarily have a very specific goal in mind of what we want to see out of it. And I think you got to be careful, like being motivated about numbers, like subscriber counts and stuff. It just doesn't, it's not really all that motivating. You really got to consider what is the big picture for why you're doing it. And I know for you, you're really trying to bring autism awareness. So, maybe your end game is to have this channel and get big enough that you're a keynote speaker and advocate for inclusion of autism and autistic students in schools or something. Abstract Possibilities Healing Through Art. Yeah, I think she has a really awesome channel over there as well. And you know what? Abstract Possibilities, I think when you shared your story the other day about why you do it, that made a huge difference in me being able to see and appreciate your channel, because you shared exactly what it's for. I would say the other thing for me, besides that like long-term goal, is it's also kind of therapeutic. I've really come to enjoy speaking every day. Like, I really try to go from the heart. And when I am coming from my heart, I'm just in like sort of a state of flow. Like I just enjoy what I'm doing. And so I don't have to stay motivated about it. So the question is, Gemma, what is it that makes you feel not motivated? That's more of a real question. Love what I'm hearing. You help me believe my dreams came true. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know that. What's up? Yeah, it's so great. Thanks, Sherry. I see my channel as therapy for me. That's where my true emotions come out. Yeah. So I don't think if you can see it as a place to have daily therapy, sort of having an audience, then I don't think you'll need motivation, because you'll want to do it. I think when people want motivation, they don't have a bigger picture in mind. They don't see the value that it's bringing specifically to them. I wish I could focus on my thoughts, that I could articulate it in speech. I wish I could focus my thoughts, that I could articulate it in speech. So I do it through my art instead. Interesting. Yeah, I invite you, Abstract Possibilities. I don't know if you have a specific video that says why you do it, but I think you had a really powerful message sharing why you did it. And I would say, Abstract, I've friended you. Mine's not nearly as powerful, I would say, but my point at which I realized I really wanted to bring mindfulness to the world, I wanted to sort of elevate people's consciousness and their self-awareness, was after doing the Landmark Forum. And I realized there are a lot of things in my life that I was sort of chasing after that weren't coming from me. There were sort of things that I was doing because I was just trying to be a good boy. I was just trying to do what society was trying to sort of tell me what to do. So for me, it wasn't any huge traumatic moment that brought me here, but it was sort of a culmination of multiple things. But a few of them were realizing that I wanted to improve myself every day. Over that time, I realized I wanted to write a book to share about all the things that I learned and share with other people. And then YouTube became another platform to share that same message. Focused thoughts are the key to our greatest version. It's hard though. Any tricks? Focused thoughts are the key to our greatest version. It's hard though. Any tricks? Oops. Focused thoughts. What's up? See if you can take your question and be a little bit more specific. So I guess the question is, do you have any tricks for really focusing in your thoughts to sort of distill out the message, the really specific message that you want? I'm guessing that's sort of what you're asking. So for me, when I've forced myself to have a video or a stream every day it's been over a year now. One of these days I'm gonna be coming out with a video of like what I've learned over 365 days of making daily videos. The interesting thing about doing daily videos is it starts out where you're like, what am I going to talk about today? Like, oh my God, I don't have an idea. And then eventually it turns into everything you see starts to occur to you like a video idea. So I said to my students the other day, as a math teacher, everything occurs to you as, ooh, that would make a really great math problem. Like if you go into Home Depot, just everything looks like a math problem. Units, like surface areas, volumes, like it's a playground for making math problems. So and that's because you're teaching math every day, so your brain's constantly in action thinking about ways to incorporate math into real life. For YouTube, because you're making daily videos, everything that you see starts to occur to you as an opportunity to make a video, make a vlog. So at some point you start having 10 or 15 ideas a day and you got to choose which one. So your question being, how do you focus those thoughts? I think if you can come from an intention of what your goal is, like my daily goal is sort of to deliver inspiration, deliver a message that resonates with people, that makes them the goodest version of themselves. Yeah, I said goodest. I know it's not a word in the English language because our language is ridiculous. I talked about it in my book. I think there's a lot of things that mess with us because of the English language. What was that last one? So, what's up to try to wait? You said something else. But yeah, I would say when you say focusing our thoughts and asking for tricks to focus your thoughts, consider, why are you trying to focus your thoughts? When you figure out why you're trying to focus your thoughts, I think that kind of answers the question for you. So for me, when I realized that every day I want to deliver a message that resonates with people, I'm asking myself which one of these thoughts, which one of these ideas that I'm going to share with them today are going to resonate with most people, and what do I want to talk about the most? So you get to also think about what kind of thoughts that you want to be having. There's one, it is in Charlie Brown Thanksgiving art collaboration held to honor his memory. Several artists took part of it with me. Good to know. So Abstract Possibilities is a YouTube channel where she does some live art, coloring, drawing, painting. Actually, I haven't seen or watched a ton of the things, but she shared that she dealt with a really tough time in her life, and she used art as the opportunity to express some of those emotions. So if you want to check that out, the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving art collaboration is held to honor the memory of her loved one. Hello, Exploring with Eric, daily videos. It's very demanding. Trending topic, I would say, I don't think once you get the hang of it, it's not nearly as demanding. It's just a thought it also depends if you're okay with live streaming. I've grown to love live streaming, and all I gotta do is find a 5 or 10 minute period a day and a message to deliver, and it's easy. It used to be a bit tougher when I had to come up with a message and edit it, which, I would spend 30 minutes working on a video, and then I would get to interact with people only through the comments section. Now I get to interact with them live, which is pretty much unbelievable. I've been told I should write a book. It just seems so daunting to me. Abstract Possibilities. This is what I want you to do based on that comment. I don't know if you know this, but I wrote a book I estimated about 250 hours. I am a coach for new authors that want to self-publish. Do I have a copy with me? They're just out of reach. I have some of my books are right over there in this room, but I self-published a book back in 2016. I had a coach that really helped me through it. She was free, and so I'm paying it forward and offering my free coaching. There have been, just hold on a second. Something even better than my book. So this right here is the book that I coached Back when I did a TED Talk last year, I met Gabrielle Landry on the back here, and I coached her for about 6 months in writing her poetry book that she'd always wanted to do. So I would love to help you create your book. I'm going to be helping Clifford Starks as well on his. Oh. Oh, damn, I get behind on these real quick. So abstract possibilities, this is what I want you to do. Send me an email at thethinkshare@gmail.com, and we'll talk about how I can coach you and what you want to create and get you past the idea of that it's daunting and have you decide really if you want to create it or not, rather than just just saying no because it seems so daunting. So we want to get you past that so that you can just choose whether you actually want to write a book or not. P.S. I'm a math teacher. I spelled things wrong on my board, and I wrote a book. In the MCAS, which is the state standardized test for math and science, math and English, I got needs improvement, which is below average, and I wrote a book. So writing ability is not a requirement for having a book completed. It's very demanding. I think it's challenging to come up with ideas. Trending topic, dude. If you promise yourself to make videos every day, it might stay demanding, but it will get less and less challenging. I like English. I'm doing my best to learn it as good as possible. Heads up, trending topic. Sometimes I break the rules of English. Like I say words that don't exist, like gooder. Like you're supposed to say better. And I talk a little bit funny sometimes on purpose because I like to break the English language. So just a heads up, I wouldn't recommend learning English based on some of the words that I say. Poem is half finished. That's awesome, Gemma. I've encouraged her to write poetry as she said that she wanted to and was a little bit scared to share it with others. RG says, when Gemma uploaded that video about grief, it really helped me. My mother's death, it's still tough. Even though she died in 2009, it was like Gemma was saying, RJ, it's okay to cry when you need to. I'm glad to hear that, RJ. The last family member I lost was in 2002, so it's been a while since I've lost someone close to me, and I'm really glad that I'm spending a lot more time with my parents so that I'm not regretting the day that they do pass. So abstract possibility, said my son. I didn't want to share for you. I didn't want to give anything away or anything. So it was her son that she lost. Poem is half finished. Your poem is half. Oh, that's awesome to hear. I forgot. So Gemma said that she was going to be writing a poem about me / my channel. So I'm looking forward to hearing it. What's up? Like finding your purpose helps you to focus down your thoughts in order to form daily goals or even long-term goals. But then putting out videos on YouTube should be a bit easier. Like finding your purpose helps you to focus down your thoughts into order to form daily goals or even long-term goals. And putting out, yeah, I would say daily videos gets a bit easier. I've been trying to write 90-day goals and try to really cut back on the amount of goals that I'm writing out for myself because it's really a pain in the butt to have a bunch of goals and then only take a little bit of action on a couple of them. Nice. Poetry book with my local mental health trust comes out soon. That's exciting. Awesome. I'll send you an email ASAP. Yes, not conform to stereotypes. Think share. That is fine. Thank you. I'm writing a fiction book. Can I send it to you? Absolutely, RJ. Send it to me. I will. I can send you my mailing address in email form. Well, I don't think I have anything else that I was planning on talking about today. I just wanted to share with you my half marathon experience. The half marathon itself, for anyone that's interested in coming to Vermont next June. I guess it happens once every year. It's called the Covered Bridges Half Marathon, and it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful races that exist in the New England area. It's my first one, so I have nothing compared to, but it sold out in I think 15 minutes last December 4th. So I guess because there's only 2,000 spots that they have available, it sells out pretty quickly. So if you're ever interested in joining me, I feel like I'm gonna end up running it next year. And in terms of running, I might just, once I figure out the financial responsibilities of it, I might consider signing up for a marathon this year. I mean, now that I've knocked this off, I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. I feel like I could keep training for longer distances. So there's a good chance you'll see me try and knock that off. But now that I've finished that, now I can go back to practicing my backflips. I still haven't come out with my vlog that I'm pretty excited for, which is a compilation of a bunch of my backflipping practice, and trying to knock that off my bucket list. But I want to be able to do it on flat ground and like not just athletic shoes. So now I'm not as afraid to do it because I didn't want to injure myself for this. So now I got some backflipping to do. I'm gonna get a wait a second. Once I get copies, I'm sending it to you. I'll look forward to it, Gemma. I'm gonna get a whiteboard and start putting things on it like short-term goals. So maybe it won't be all over the place. That sounds good. RJ says going live. I'm about to wrap up, so you guys are all welcome to jump over to RJ's live stream. RJ's blind. He's a YouTuber. I think he had a really great story that he was sharing with me on his birthday. He invited me onto his live stream, and he talked about how he got the opportunity to improve the lives of some other blind people, and make a difference for them, and showing them that just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't do things. So I invite you to check him out. Pretty sure I could get you accommodations in the UK. My friend has an Airbnb room in her house. Hell yeah. Hey, if I can get a gig talking where the talk itself covers the airfare, I'm 100% in. I will take days off of school to do that. I can help you with the backflip. The mental part is very important. Yeah, trending topic. I'll come out with that now that I have a functioning charger and I get some time on my hands today. I'm gonna see if I can wrap that thing up. I'll cut it down to like 15 minutes. I just wanted to cut it down a little bit below 10 minutes before I send it out, but it's a pretty good video so far. You're awesome. See you living your dreams. Thank you, what's up? See if we can send awesome, Gemma. Don't worry, summer vacation from work. I do have a summer vacation. Yeah, I know. I'm saying like if the speaking gig were not during the school year. All right, I'm gonna sign off today. Thank you all for coming to watch. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you all. I've got friends who could help me. Good to hear it. I've got friends that sorry, what was I gonna say? Oh, thank you for everyone that hit the like button. I'm up to 9. Thank you all for. I can't believe all of you actually find me entertaining enough to stay around for 43 minutes. If you found this resonate with you and you know it might resonate with someone else, share it with them. But don't just share it to share it. Only share it if you found something of value out of it. Thank you for watching, and stay weird, humans. Yeet!